Hello again and welcome to Shop Time. Today we'll be discussing how to swap out the I/O board for your Dante card in the back of a QL-5. Lots of moving parts, so you're going to want to check this out. Lots of screws as well, so it's going to take a little time. All right, and here we go. We have a Yamaha QL-5. These are the three boards that we're going to take out. And we're going to start off with the screws on the back of the board at each individual XLR. So basically, we got a lot of screws to deal with, and we're going to be using a Phillips screwdriver and an M4 hex bit. Okay, we have 8 screws on each side of this Yamaha that we need to take out. There's 3 types of screws for this repair, so it makes it easy to keep track of what goes into what. Basically, all 8 screws on the back, front, and the sides are the same, all Phillips head. And then we got the hex screws, 3 hex screws that we need to take out in order to lift and take off the guards, I should say, the Yamaha guards that come off on the side. That way you can get to the other 8 on each side. And once we get all our screws out, it just props up just like that. I use a drumstick. You can use what you want to prop it open. Once you got it open, then you got all the screws in the back at each card that you need to take out. One at a time, you're going to hit each screw. You're going to take out your ribbons, and there's going to be 2 more screws that you need to get out, and once you do that, you should be able to just slip it out. Same thing for the second board down. You're going to go through all your screws. Same thing with the ribbons and the other screws. And the only difference on this is when you pull it out, there's 2 metal brackets right there that you need to kind of bend in order to get that one piece out. As you can see, you gotta be really careful, but once you do it, it just slips right out. Oh, I guess I forgot a screw. Imagine that. And now for the Dante I/O card. It's basically going to be, let's see, 5 screws. These screws are different than the other ones, so you just want to make sure that you put that to the side, as well as the covers. You'll see that they just kind of come off there, and you'll put those covers on your new I/O card. Same thing as the other card. Just take out, all the serial cables. There's 2 more screws to do. Oh, forgot that one. That was an important one. All right, here's the thing. Now, this is an I/O card, but it does not have the Dante card with it, the new one. You're going to take your Dante card out of the old one, all right, and put it into the new one. So we're not swapping out the Dante card, we're swapping out the I/O, which sometimes can go bad over time. Basically, rinse and repeat. Just going backwards. So I need to make a little correction here. Basically, I've been calling serial cables when they're really called ribbon cables. Now, those ribbon cables that you see going back in have a little tab, blue tab, as you saw, that helps you get them in, push them in, and you want to use that in order to get them back in. They can be tricky. Putting it all back together again. One thing I want to mention is that when you're putting everything back together, you don't want to use a drill. I personally like this ratcheting screwdriver I use. that way you're not over tightening and stripping your screws and everything like that. So when you're taking the screws out, of course it's fine to use the drill, just don't use too much torque on it. But when you're repairing stuff and putting things back together, you just want to hand tighten everything and know exactly how tight you're screwing your stuff in. All right, and then it's time to put the side guards on, which there should be about 4 tabs, and you'll see exactly where they go. Once you get them in, you kind of push it down and it locks right in place. Now we just have the 8 screws in the front, the 8 screws in the back. Turn it on, make sure it's working, and there you go. And that's going to do it for this episode of Shop Time. Join us next week when I show you how to clean a high frequency driver that tests NOK on an enclosure check on your L-Acoustics LA4, LA12 amplifier. Don't forget to subscribe and hit like. I'll see you next time on Shop Time.